Hello, welcome back to 10 Principles of Experiential Brain-Based Learning, Module 4. Happy to have you here today. And you are well aware by now that we are taking deep mindful yawns, very slow movement stretches for slow movement. We are going to begin today with that as well. I will be ringing a mindfulness bell. When you hear that, focus on the tone of the bell, as well as taking your deep, mindful yawn. Feel that yawn all throughout your body and take a very slow movement, either stretch or just a very slow movement. And if you're going to move your head, move it really slow. And if you move it in a circle, you'll want to take almost a full minute to do that. When I do this, I keep my eyes open. And that's due to having my eyes closed sometimes causes me to be dizzy. If you feel the dizzy experience, then you want to definitely open your eyes. And remember, this will help us become fully relaxed. When we are relaxed, we do a much better job learning. So principle number 5 is write it down. So you want to have your notebooks out and ready and just jot down your biggest insights that you're learning. The research is really clear on this, on writing it down, that writing it down, writing what you learn is more effective than thinking about what you want to accomplish. It uses different areas of the brain. The motor activity is involved with both the writing and speaking. Deep learning and behavioral transformation. And this is so after you've listened to a lesson, you want to spend about a minute daydreaming and reflecting upon it. Use your journal then to write down the most interesting parts of the lesson. And you want to remember to keep those brief. So remember, our brain really does a good job remembering about 10 words. So use as few words as possible. That's going to help your brain be able to remember. So write down brief sentences when you're writing, and that will definitely help your brain really gain that information and keep it as well. After you've written down the most important elements of whatever the lesson, the lecture, the course was for you at that particular moment, using as few words as possible, you'll want to take about another minute to observe and reflect on the words. This is going to stimulate additional learning and memory centers in your brain. It will allow every aspect of your brain to work together, the 3 different networks. Using the 3 different networks definitely helps your brain engage into the learning, as well as retaining the information that you have learned. Each of these areas is essential to learning. Seeing, hearing, speaking, thinking about the words that you have written, they all affect those different language centers in your brain, which are very necessary to build a comprehensive understanding of the world and processing the information that you have learned. Here we can see hearing words. This is the area that is lit up in your brain. So you can really see you are using all areas of your brain. Speaking words is here. We'll go to the next slide. Seeing words and thinking about words. So seeing words and just thinking about words really activate quite different areas of the brain. Leave one of those areas out and your learning will and retention will not be as successful as it could have been. And that is the reason it's so important to include all of these elements together when learning a new task, being at a workshop, learning one of the courses here at Eclectic Entrepreneurs. So it's quite important. If you want to get the most from anything you have just learned, one of the best ways to do that is to share it with a colleague or a friend. Even if it's brand new to you, just share it. Hey, I learned this bit of new information. I thought it was interesting. What do you think? Have a dialogue about it. Cooperative activities such as that, teaching someone else, really enhances nearly every aspect of the neurological function of your brain. So if you remember on the past 2 slides, the different areas where the brain is lit up, we want to activate all of those areas. Sharing is caring, right? Especially when you're learning something new. It really is. It's caring for yourself and being able to really retain what you have learned, which is true. This one is something that I think a lot of people struggle with. Is it better to type or is writing more effective? And the research really shows that each form enhances different learning processes in the brain. What you want to do is experience both of them and then really decide through your experimentation which one you prefer, which one really helps you gain a better understanding, better knowledge. If your handwriting is like my husband's, you might not be able to read your own writing. I know that he is not the only one out there with poor penmanship. He would prefer to type rather than to write. And it's simply because it's very difficult to read his writing. So the typewritten form, he's actually going to know, okay, that's what my most insightful area that I learned. This is what I gained the most out of what I have learned by typing it. Let's take another deep mindful yawn. And remember to take our slow motion movement. It can be a very slow stretch. And this enhances your retention by relaxing. And remember, when we are relaxed, we do much better remembering the information we've just been presented. Take a little time to daydream about what we have just learned, writing it down. So just a brief moment to really daydream about that. And we will move along. Visualization of important ideas. Our brain really needs to have a visual anchor in order for us to remember concepts and abstract ideas. So when you hear or discover something that you feel is really, really important, pause the course, the program, just take a moment and see if you can create an image, a drawing, or a symbol associated with that idea. If you are not able to visualize images in your head, feel what that is like. So create a verbal story so that you can build that image without actually visualizing the image. It's about 2% of the population that is unable to have that visual experience within their brain. And I happen to be one of them. So you really have to just use a lot of words to give yourself that visual idea. So when you can visualize, and the majority of people can, you'll want to close your eyes and notice what images come to mind. You can even doodle those images from your mind around your notes. You will see some people, that is how they really, really learn, is by doodling. One thinks, oh, you're wasting time, you're just drawing pictures, stop that. No, very important, especially for somebody who that's how they retain the information. And I have found for me that actually worked really well, is being able to draw while listening to the information being presented. I had to go to jury duty, was picked as an alternate for a state grand jury, which meant as an alternate, you had to go in for 2 days and listen to the entire state's statutes. Mind numbing is what that is. So I did a lot of drawing, and I realized I actually retained some of the information that was presented due to visualizing the important ideas, daydreaming, definitely daydream during that, and then drawing those images from your mind around your notes so that you can see the concept visualized in a shape or a form. And that really does help with retention, especially if it's something that is a little bit more dry, maybe a little bit harder for you to retain. That's a great way to do it. Let's take another deep, deep mindful yawn. Our very slow motion movement. As well as take time to allow your mind to wander and just really let it go anywhere that it wants to go.